Welcome to Wednesday Mindful Pilates. Let's begin lying on our backs today. We're going to begin with the core and with three-dimensional breath. We're going to work on postural alignment lying down, and then we will take it to standing in the end with some arm weight work. But let's build up to that. So lying down on the floor in constructive rest, spread your shoulders wide, palms up, thumbs out, and feel into the neutral curves of your neck and your lumbar spine. Take a deep three-dimensional inhale, feeling for the expansion around the whole circle of your lowest ribs. And then exhale, relax into your neutral curves. Take a deep inhale. And exhale, relax. Let your shoulders relax broad, your jaw release as you continue this breath. Really concentrate on expanding the whole circle of your lowest ribs. But don't force out too full of a breath. Remember, you're breathing the glass about 80% full, so you can hand it to a friend without spilling it. Every time you relax, release tension, even if it's around the eyes or between the toes. In the palms of the hands. Why do we want to release the tension? So that we have some more space around the bones, so that we can move them fluidly through the practice. We can lengthen the spine, have some expansion in the tissue of the discs. So let your spine gently lengthen. Maybe you even lift the shoulders and take them away from the hips, and you lift the head, take it away from the shoulders. And the next time you inhale, filling the lowest ribs, turn your head to the left, just gently. And exhale to center, and gently turn your head to the right, and center. And when you turn back to center, notice that you want your gaze perpendicular to the floor. If it's not, bring in a pillow. And come back to center and nod your head yes, still breathing into the whole circumference of the lowest ribs. Now, bringing your head to neutral, take a deep inhale. Exhale out through your straw, draw the pelvic floor into the body, activate your transverse abdominis, feel for the diaphragm lifting under the lungs. Soften and inhale. Now, as you exhale through your straw, don't curl your shoulders towards the sky or flatten your lumbar spine. Try not to tense around the shoulders or neck. Just feel for the activation of the pelvic floor, the transverse abdominis, and the diaphragm. Three-dimensional breath is fundamental to strengthening the three dimensions of the core. Feel for the side bodies gently hugging in towards the spine, because the transverse abdominis is a three-dimensional, 360-degree muscle. Feel for the side waist gently drawing in towards the sides of the spine as you exhale. Feel for tissue in the low back hugging in. Shoulders stay broad and relaxed. Neck stays long. Now release that breath and imagine a marble at 12 o'clock towards your chin on your navel. Without moving the bones of your body, roll that marble to 3 o'clock, to 6 o'clock, to 9 o'clock, and to 12 o'clock. Not by tilting your hips, but by using your abdominal muscles. Roll the marble around the circumference of your belly button. Now, there may be a tendency to want to actually roll the hips because that would make the marble roll more easily. I want you to use your abdominal muscles to roll the marble around the circumference of your belly button. And really pay attention to which muscles are working. Roll the marble back up to 12 o'clock and take it the other way, towards 9, towards 6, towards 3, towards 12. Rolling it around the navel. And then take another deep inhale. Neutral spine. Exhale through your straw. Lift the pelvic floor into the body. Hug the transverse abdominis. Diaphragm lifts, and so does one leg. And then inhale the leg back down, light as a feather, the foot. Exhale the next leg up, shin parallel to the floor. Exhale, inhale, slowly lower it down. Exhale, float the leg up. You're activating your diaphragm. Inhale, fill the torso. Exhale, activate the diaphragm. Inhale, fill the torso. Shoulders stay broad and relaxed back. And now exhale one leg to tabletop. Take an inhale. Exhale the other leg to tabletop. And bring the heels together, knees as wide as your shoulders. Inhale, toe dip. Exhale, heel to heel. Fluid breath, fluid motion. Feel for the shoulders staying broad. Continue your three-dimensional breath. Now bring the shins parallel and continue. Shoulders stay broad. Keeping your Pilates square activated. Hug both knees into your chest. Circle them wide apart and back together again. Circling the knees. Take your knees the other direction. Fluid breath. Circling the knees. And hug the right knee in. Lengthen the left leg out. Take an inhale. Exhale through your straw. Draw the pelvic floor into the body. Gently draw in the banks of your river. Lift from the hairline. Almost float the head. And switch. Keep your square square. Keep your hips from coming up towards your armpit. Reach the lengthening leg out straight if you can, pressing on a button on the wall with your big toe. Press the button, press the button. Some of you will float the head up and look towards the knees, and you can take the motion a little faster. Come into a point from big toe to pinky toe. Stay with full fluid breaths. And hug both knees into the chest. Reach hands and feet for the sky. Zip up from inner thighs to inner heels. Press the heels together. Take wrists away from ankles. Circle the arms, hug the knees in. Remember, you can always toe dip both feet instead of lengthening the legs out if that feels more comfortable to you. Really stretching out. We don't want to flare the ribs. So if it's better for you to toe dip the knees, so that you can keep your Pilates square, then do that action. Circle and hug, reach, zip the inner thighs, circle and hug, reach, hug in the banks of the river. Reach and hug, one more, reach and hug. Right leg overhead, left leg long, point your feet, pulse, pulse, just an inch, pulse, 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 pulse. Floint the feet. Pulse, 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 pulse. Nod nose towards mouth. Almost lift from the hairline. Feel your front neck flexors. Lengthen the neck. Feel for floating vertebrae away from vertebrae and maybe float your head. Reach out through the heels. Remember, lifting the head's contraindicated if you have osteoporosis. Stretch from the pelvis through the crown and point the feet again. And then just relax the feet, but keep the legs long and active. Fluid breath. Now bring the legs back together. Bend your knees and toe dip one foot towards the floor. Come back up. Remember, the toe never touches the floor and the knee stays at a right angle so that you're working from your hip flexors. You can stay with single legs, shoulders broad, Pilates square strong, or you can come in and toe dip both legs. You can bring the inseam of the feet together, knees a little wide, and toe dip both feet. Again, the toes don't touch the floor. The shoulders stay broad. Feel your abdominal core working. You can stay with this, or you can lengthen the legs and float the heels down, point the toes, lift the feet, flex the feet, and lower, point, and lift. Try to find that lift from the back of the legs and the glutes, as well as from your front hip flexors. Use the sides of your hip to create a container to help lift the legs. Low ribs, stay in good contact with the hip pointers. And one more. Floating up, bend the knees. Now take the knees off to the left, rolling the right hip up slightly, and then roll to the other side. And just a gentle rock. Now, if you have osteoporosis, you may not rock as far. We're just gently rocking across the pelvis, knees to one side, knees to the other, feeling for the obliques. Remember that the obliques put the brakes on side bending and twisting as much as they help us side bend and twist. So feel how the brakes turn on and you actually get that core work if you don't go as far. Let the brakes stop the motion of the swaying knees. Now come back to center. Float your hands behind your head and exhale. Right elbow lifts as the right leg lengthens. Turn the right leg out a little. See if you can straighten the knee. And switch. If straightening the leg is too much, don't do it. But if you can, come into slight turnout and really work your vastus medialis. Reach the elbow up towards the sky, lengthening the spine away from the pelvis. Stay with your breath. Building strength in your oblique muscles a few different ways. Fluid breath. Reaching the elbow skyward to lift the shoulder blade. We concentrate more on taking one side of the low ribs across towards the opposite hip pointer. Keeping the neck long, not jutting the chin. We come back to center and hug the knees in and circle the knees wide apart and back together again. I do the series of 5 almost every class in some form because this is the series that travels really easily. It's a really good strengthening for your front abdominal core. Okay, hug the knees in, circle them together around the perimeter of your sacrum. Really feeling where that sacrum is in space in your body. Circle the other way. Now bring one foot to the floor and the other. If you're using a pillow, take it out. Bring your arms into robot arms and press the shoulders back. In fact, let's begin with the elbows out in a T, palms facing the foot of the mat, fingers skyward. Press the whole length of your humerus bone back and feel for the center back waking up. So as you press the head of the arm bone back all the way down the humerus to the elbow, you're activating the work of the muscles around the arms and down into the back, pulling on the bones. Feel where the muscles pull on the bones. That pull of muscles on the bones reminds the bones they need to stay strong. And this helps us continue to build bone density, even though that lessens as we age. Heels aligned with sit bones. Relax the arms. Now bring them into robot arms and lift your pelvis into a bridge. and lower the pelvis down. Do a few here without the weight on. Lift up into the bridge, take the pelvis away from the shoulders. Now this is a lower end lift. We are not rolling down. We're just lowering the pelvis and lifting the pelvis. Okay, if you'd like to try a weight, bring a hand weight in over your pelvis or bring in your sandbag. Bring your arms back into robot arms and lift and lower. You may even, if you have two sandbags, stack two sandbags on your pelvis and lift and lower and lift and lower and lift and hold. Broad across your shoulders, press back with the bones of the shoulders and the arms. Now breathe three-dimensionally. Try to breathe down into the abdomen, the low abdomen, where the weight is. Reach your tailbone long. If you don't have weight, just imagine you have weight there. Breathe down into the low abdomen. Breathe in against the weight. Breathe into the low back as well. And lower the pelvis and lift. And lower the pelvis and lift. And lower and lift. And lower and lift. And lower and lift. And pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and hold. Lift your toes, lift your arches. Make sure you're not rolling out towards the pinky toe. As we add more weight onto the pelvis, we want to make sure our knees are well aligned. So we have all four corners of the feet down, the three arches active, and relax your toes. Feel for space between the bones, even the bones of the lumbar spine. And again, lower and lift, and lower and lift, and lower and lift. Fluid breath. Okay, lower back down. Take the weight off for a minute and bring your feet to a higher lift. This could be blocks, your ooh, well, let's not use the ooh yet. Blocks or a bolster. Bring your arms wide again through the collar and the shoulder. So you have a nice base, strong down the arm bones and pressing into the feet, lift the pelvis and lower the pelvis and lift and lower and lift. Now feel for space between the vertebrae, broad across your shoulders, and pulse the pelvis skyward. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And lower the pelvis back down. Now lift one leg if you'd like to with a bent knee or a straight leg. Broad across the shoulder girdle and strong down the arms. Lift and lower on the one foot. Lift and lower. If this is too much, stay with 2 feet. Fluid breath, lifting and lowering. Now lift up, flex the foot. Lower the heel, point the toe and lift. Flex and lower, point and lift. Flex and lower, point and lift. Pulse the foot skyward. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Lower the pelvis to the floor. Bend the knee. Take a deep three-dimensional inhale. Lift the other leg with a bent knee or a straight leg. And grounding through the arms and shoulders, lift the foot. And lower. And lift. And lower. Strong in the four corners of your standing foot. Coming up, flex the foot, lower the heel, point the toe and lift. Flex and lower. So now you're bringing the foot down towards the foot of the mat. So you're moving at the hip, swinging the hip down, the leg down and back up. There you go. Down and up. One more. Down and up. And now press the beach ball skyward. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And lower the pelvis and bend the knee. And take a few breaths, three-dimensional breaths into the whole circumference of the lowest ribs. Now, if it felt okay for you to have the weight on your pelvis, you can bring the weight back in one more time with your feet on the lift. Make sure you do not feel like you're crunching in the cervical spine. You're making sure you keep a neutral curve, that you can be broad and strong across the shoulder, down the arms, activating your glutes, lift the pelvis and lower the pelvis, and lift and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower, and lift and hold. Take a nice big three-dimensional breath. Exhale through your straw. Can you feel for internal activation as you exhale? Inhale through the straw. As you exhale, you maintain your neutral lumbar curve, but you do hug in the transverse abdominis. One more deep inhale and full exhale. And lower your pelvis to the floor and take the weights off. And hug the knees into your chest and circle them wide apart and back together again. Fluid breath. Just some fun, different ways to add a little weight as we work. Okay, let's roll over onto our sides now. And let's come up onto a forearm. So you may fold your mat in, move your bolster out of your way. And if you'd like to, you can bring in a small hand weight or even a 3-pound hand weight, or some of you maybe even a 5-pound hand weight. Okay, so you're really going to feel into your shoulders if this is okay for you. So it's going to be different for each person. Now, some of you who aren't putting weight on your shoulders, you may come to standing and do this against the wall here. Remember, you could have a hand weight here, taking it open and closed. Those of you on the floor, you'll come into your side plank elbow under your shoulder or forward towards the top of your head. You'll have your hand weight start with the light one in front of you. And before we lift the hand weight, we're just going to lift the side body and release it down. So this is the first step, activating the side into an arch. It's what we do with our rainbows. So if any of you need to do rainbows, this is the first step. Okay. The second step would be to lift the hips and lower. Lift the hips and lower. Lift the hips and lower. The third step would be to hold your hand weight out in front of you, lift the hips and lower. So just keep the hand weight, the arm is parallel to the floor, lift the hips and lower, lift the hips and lower, lift the hips. If this does not feel good in your shoulder, don't do it. Now try lifting the hand weight straight up from your shoulder and lift the hips and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower, lift and hold. Lengthen through the crown. Feel for space around each vertebrae, even the vertebrae of the neck, and lower the arm forward like we did before, and lift the arm up. Make sure that you're hugging in the banks of your river around your pelvis as you lower the arm and lift the arm. Lower just to parallel. Keep space around your moving humerus bone. And one more. Lifting up and lower the hips. And let's try the other side. So it's kind of fun to try new things, but we want to make sure as we do, we keep our alignment in our consciousness. So elbow underneath the shoulder. We begin with our rainbows. Inhaling up and over, exhaling down. Feel for the lift of your side body. You are putting weight on the arm that's on the floor. That's good. Now, can you lift the pelvis and lower? And for some of you, this may be enough right here. You don't need to force the shoulder. We lift and lower. We inhale and exhale. Some of you will pick up your hand weight and lift, and keeping the hand weight parallel to the floor, lift your hips and lower. and lift and lower. Exhale and inhale, or inhale and exhale, but stay with your breath. Make sure you're not bringing the shoulders up to the ears. Now lift the hand weight straight above you. Continue to lift the hips and lower. Lift and lower. Feel how you're putting more weight onto the arm because you have a hand weight overhead. We're doing it with a light hand weight today because we're making sure we have good alignment. Now, lift up and let's just pause for a minute, lengthening through your crown, feeling for space, hugging in the glutes to create a lift and a container for the hips. Lower the arm and lift the arm and lower and lift. And maybe you inhale and exhale. Fluid breath, fluid motion. Feel how your obliques are also working. And come up and release the hip and release the hand weight and come onto your hands and knees. Okay, nice work. Let's inhale into our cow shape. And let's exhale, hands away from knees into our hissing cat. And one more time, inhale your cow. And exhale your hissing cat. Now come to neutral spine and roll your toes under, putting your hips back towards your feet a little bit, stretching the toes. Come back up, pelvis over knees, and float your knees just an inch off the floor. Stay broad across your shoulders. Yes, we're putting weight onto the hands in our low bear, fluid, three-dimensional breath. Now look at your hands. When we're on the hands, we want the fingers evenly spread, but not spread too wide. We want the finger pads to gently hug towards the palms, lifting the middle knuckles. Three-dimensional breath. And float back into your downward dog. And walk your dog. Fluid breath. Feel how you're putting weight down into your arm bones. And then knees even. Float the knees back down towards the floor and hover in your bear. Three-dimensional breath. You may want to see if you can lift one foot off the floor. And the other. Now we're using our own body weight as the weight that we're working with. This work can help us to build bone density because our own weight matters. It's like when people go to space, they lose bone density. Lift your hips. Knees bend in towards the floor as you rock your walking dog. Create space between the arm bones by stretching the pelvis away from the hands. Feel how even the gripping hands are working so the muscles of the hands are pulling on the bones. And walk your hands towards your feet, or your feet towards your hands. Heels under sit bones, second metatarsals parallel. Bring your hands up to your heart. Take an inhale. Lengthen from crown to tail. Fluid breath. Neutral curves to the spine. Take a full inhale. Exhale through your straw. Float to one foot. See if you can float to one toe, the toe off the floor. Fluid breath. Again, look how you're using your body weight. Put the foot back on the floor. Take it to the other toe. If you stay on the toe, that's just fine. Maybe you just float some of that leg's weight off the floor, or you see if you can float the leg off the floor. Look at the weight you're putting on the standing leg and feel how the muscles in your body are working in relationship with the bones. Put the foot back on the floor and reach your hands back down to the mat. Walk back out to hands and knees and draw your bolster in under your belly. Okay, again, we're going to work with our, our hand weights for our rhomboid strengtheners. Bring the block under your forehead, the low ribs onto the bolster. The hand weights will be down the bolster beside your hips. Okay, let's begin by rooting the pubic bone into the bolster. Hands under the shoulders, lift a little bit and stretch the spine away from the rooting pubic bone and lay it back down. Ribs should still be on the bolster, the lowest ribs, and bring your hands to your hand weights. Reach your tailbone for your heels. The feet may float off to help strengthen the backs of the legs, or they can stay on the floor if you just want to concentrate on the back. Palms face the body as you lift the pinky finger and lower the index finger. Now, as you do this, the head of the arm bone is not teeter-tottering towards the floor each time you lift the pinky. You're lifting across the collar, feeling the humerus bone not drop towards the floor. Fluid breath. Breathing deep into the abdomen against the bolster. Making sure your shoulders are not creeping up the neck towards your ears. Reach the knuckles of the hands down towards the feet. Now see if you can float the arms up and hold. Make sure you're not hyperextending the elbows. And take a few more three-dimensional breaths. Make sure you're not collapsing the belly into the bolster, but rooting the pubic bone and reaching the tailbone long to activate the lower abdominal core. And release the hand weights. Take your hands out wide in a T like a bird flying. And first float up your head of your arm bone, kind of hollow into the armpit. And then lift the wrist not as high as the shoulder and lower down. Try it without the hand weights, making sure you have space around your bones, especially in the shoulder. Now, if you'd like to, lift the hand weight. Only do this if there's no pinching or discomfort. Taking the head of the arm bone far enough out of the shoulder girdle that you have space, but not so far that you disintegrate. Fluid breath. Still reaching the tailbone for the heels. Rooting the pubic bone. Some of you may be able to float the arms up and pause. Three-dimensional breath. Release the hand weights. Take the arms up around the ears. Pinkies towards the floor, thumbs towards the sky. Now, if it feels like your shoulders are coming up around your ears or you don't have space around the head of the arm bone, for some people, just having the arms long, pinkies on the floor here, will be a stretch of the shoulders. Play with taking the hands a little wider, a little narrower. Find the place where you have room around the head of the arm bone, and then maybe lift and lower, maybe not. Fluid breath. Some of you will be able to float the head off the block, rooting the pubic bone, space between the vertebrae. Three-dimensional breath. Now release the hands under your shoulders, feet to the floor. Isometrically draw back with the hands and roll up to whatever height of cobra feels right in your body. Remembering we don't want the shoulders around the neck, but we want the head in line with the rest of the spine in its curve. Fluid, three-dimensional breath. Stretching the psoas after the earlier front abdominal core work. Now lengthen the spine, isometrically pulling back with hands. Lengthen the spine as you come down. Float your hands back by your pelvis, broad across the collar, shoulder blades firm on the back and wide. Lift up into your Salambhasana. Fluid breath. Back of the neck long. Now, some of you will be able to reach for your hand weights, bring them back by your hips, and float the arms up with your hand weights in your Salabhasana. Have your pubic bone grounding and your tailbone reach for your heels. Make sure you're not collapsing in the vertebrae. Strong shoulder blades on the back, fluid breath. Long neck. And release the weights. Roll up onto hands and knees. And take the bolster out from under you. Inhale your cow. And exhale your hissing cat. And be gentle. Move in a smaller range of motion to begin with. Fluid breath. And then when you're ready, roll back into a child's pose. Big toes together, knees wide. Rock the pelvis side to side. And walk the hands around to one side. Breathing into the stretching side. Fluid breath. You may rock your shoulders a little bit to spiral into the tissue, inviting an opening around the bones. Feel how the stretch can actually pull on the bones. That pulling on the bones is part of what reminds us to build bone density. So we want to do it from different angles. That's why yoga is effective. Inhale, lengthen the side body as you switch sides. Breathe deep into the tissue. Maybe rock the shoulders or the hips, looking for where you can stretch the tissue as it's attached to the bone. Fluid breath. And it's fun to notice, where do I feel like this myofascial tissue is pulling on my bones? Is it pulling on a few of your vertebrae? Is it pulling in on your shoulder girdle? Is it pulling into the torso? And come back to neutral. Come down to your forearms, palms together. And step back into a plank. Rooting down into the elbows and forearms, long from crown to heels. Three-dimensional breath. So we play with weights to how to use our own body weight to build bone strength. Maybe we float 1 foot off the floor. We work to keep our pelvis level, but feel how you're putting more pressure on the bones of the standing leg. Maybe you can try the other side. We stay with the three-dimensional breath. Both feet on the floor, lengthening from crown to tail. Breathing space around the vertebrae. You can stay here or walk your feet towards your head, taking them wide and putting a little more pressure on your forearms, lifting up onto the toes of your feet. And then walking back in and lowering your knees to the floor. Hands as wide or wider than your shoulders. Roll into your downward dog and walk your dog. And walk your feet forward, bending the knees. Inhale, hands to the heart. Tailbone releasing, reach through the crown. Release the arms and lift. Interlace the fingers, thumbs to the base of the skull. Pick it up. Reach the elbows for the sky as you root tailbone and pubic bone and release the shoulders. Float the arms long and wide. and release. Okay, so now we're standing. Let's put on our circle TheraBand around our legs if you'd like to. If you'd like the added resistance. If you don't want the added resistance, don't do it. Uh-oh, I'm wearing slick pants, slick yoga pants, so my TheraBand may not want to stay there. And then have your long TheraBand as well. Let's begin with the long TheraBand just around our necks so that we'll have it in a minute. And let's just come palms together, elbows together, arms lifted in our forward tuck, our ski tuck. Okay, ski tuck. Now open your arms wide, press out into the legs, and come together. And open and press, and open and press, open and press. Switch directions when you need to. You can stay with this arm movement, or you can open, press up, and press up, and press up, and press up, drawing the elbows back. Come back to the previous motion, closing the palms and opening, closing and opening, closing and opening. Come back to a center spot, pause with the legs open. Now, widen your toe box from big toe to pinky toe. Lift the heels and lower, lift the heels and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower. Now put your weight on the heels. Lift your toes, maybe even lift the balls of the feet and lower, lift, lower, lift and lower, lift and lower, and step in. Okay, so we warmed up the quads a little bit. We're waking up our proprioception with the TheraBand around our thighs. And now bring your right hand to your outer hip, left palm forward, and open the left arm broad across your shoulder girdle. So step your feet outer hip distance wide so you feel the TheraBand around your legs, and pressing down into the four corners of each foot, lift your toes, lift your arches. Now, pelvis is under heart, is under palate, is under the center crown. Feel into your postural alignment. Find strong shoulder blades on your back. Put the weight onto your right foot and come to the left toe. And lift the left leg out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and hold. Lengthen. Stretch into the therabands and release. Resistance training is part of bone development. Part of the exercises that they're noticing currently are helping with the reduction of bone loss. Okay, stand on both feet. Hip distance wide first, open. Now right arm out, left hand on the hip. Check in with your Pilates square. You don't want to be flaring the ribs or losing the square. Likewise, there isn't a flattening of the lumbar spine. Lift your toes, lift your arches. Palate is over heart, is over pelvis. Your knees are not locked. And float onto the left foot, right toe out. And lift. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And hold. Broad across the shoulders. Long through the spine. Fluid breath. And release. Take the TheraBand around your lowest back ribs. And as you're ready, take your left foot back behind you. Right foot open. Now, breathe into the TheraBand at your low back ribs. Feel into the TheraBand on your back leg hamstring. Press into the ribs, taking your arms slightly forward, and begin to lean forward towards your Vera 3. Now, you may not go that far because it's a TheraBand, but what we're going to do here is feel into the resistance we can create with the arms and the legs. Press into the standing foot. Feel the TheraBand around both legs. And as you press into the TheraBands, lengthen the spine. Fluid breath. Now, if you can, pulse the lifted back leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and hold. Breathe into the TheraBand around your ribs and come up. Pause. In your great postural alignment, palate over heart, over pelvis, over center of the earth. Relax on the exhales. Three-dimensional breath on the inhales. Feet wide open on the floor. As you're ready, take the right leg back. Lengthen through your crown. Lift vertebrae off vertebrae. Take an inhale. Take the arms forward and out wide, palms up. And as you're ready, begin to lean towards your Virabhadrasana 3. Just come as far forward as it's not going to move the TheraBand around your thighs. Feel into the TheraBands, touch and lower the toes and lift and pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and hold. See if you can float the bones away from your center, away from the pelvis, the spinal bones, the shoulders, the pelvis, the femur bones, and float back up. Take the TheraBand over the top of your head. Notice how having the TheraBands, I'm hoping, is creating more proprioceptive awareness for you. Stretching up into the TheraBand, release your shoulders. Broad, we're not pulling down on the TheraBand on the head. We're going to take the left foot out to the left again. This time we're going to slightly turn towards the left leg, and we're going to lift the front of the quad up into the TheraBand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and hold. Press into your standing foot. No hyperextension of the knee. Lift the pelvis off the standing femur bone. Lengthen and lift each vertebrae off the other. And bend the lifted leg's knee. Touch the toe to your ankle and open. And touch and open. Touch, open, touch, and open. And pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and step down. And release the TheraBand on your head for a moment. Palate floating over heart, over pelvis. Knees not hyperextended. Feel for the arches of your feet. Find your shoulder blades on your back body. We're strengthening the lines of the back body in these Pilates classes. So feel how that can lift the heart center a little. It can rest your head back over your shoulders, over your heart center. Now take the TheraBand again in your hands. A little pressure on the top of the head. Take your right leg out and then swivel your hips slightly towards the right leg. Shoulder blades strong on the back and lift the right leg. And pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and hold. Still, your palate's floating over your heart, over your pelvis, over the four corners of your standing foot, and bend the lifted leg knee, and straighten, and bend, and straighten, bend, straighten, bend, and straighten, bend, and straighten, and pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and come back up to standing. And take your TheraBand off your head. Bring it back to the front of your body. Right hand on the hip, left arm opens. come to your left toe and lift the left foot off the floor. Shoulder blades strong on your back. Rest your head back. Palate over heart over pelvis and tap. 2, 3, 4, and 5, and lift. Open the knee out and close and open and close. Keep lengthening both side bodies and close and step down. Left hand to the hip. Right arm opens, broad across your shoulder girdle, grounding in your feet. Fluid breath. Lift to the right toe. Lift the right knee and tap. 2, 3, 4, and 5, and lift. Broad across your shoulder, take the knee wide and close and open and close. Keep floating the vertebrae off one another, the head skyward. And one more. And a release. Let go the long theraband. Take off the circled theraband. And pause in your mountain pose. Open your toe box and roll up onto the balls of your feet, lifting your heel. And lower the heel and lift. And lower and lift. Doing a little weightlifting in the feet. Feel the weightlifting you're doing in your feet. Fluid breath. Now rest the heel down. Lift just the toes. Feel the four corners, the arches. Now, are you open across your collar and strong in the shoulder blades on the back? Root the heel and lift the balls of the feet. Lift and lower, lift and lower, and lower. Make sure you're not hyperextending the knees. Lift and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower. Good. Pick up your ball. And taking the right foot out. Float the ball and the foot up, crossing it over the top. Come down, bending into your Utkatasana, ball at the heart. Take the right foot out, right arm up and over, step down, Utkatasana. And we float, and come in, and we float. Come in. Now feel in to your bones floating in the myofascial web as you do the movement. So part of what we want to practice in working with bone health is agility. So we do different motions and we do them at different speeds to build that. Oops, I forgot to go over the top. And pause in your Utkatasana, pressing the ball in at the heart. Take the ball forward, lower it towards your ankles, and lift it toward your crown. And lower. Keep your knees open and lift. Don't drop the knees into center. Fluid breath. Knees open over your second metatarsals. Now this time when you lift the ball, see if you can lift to one toe and the other toe. And lift, lower, lift, and lower. Some may be able to float the foot and float the foot. Feel how you're building strength in that side body. Moving blood, moving lymph. Step both feet down and reach skyward. Bring the ball behind your head. Support the back of the neck. Lay back with the head. Reach the elbows skyward. Lift your low back ribs as you root your tail. Hug in the banks of your river. Breathe. Prana, life force, into the heart center. And lengthen your arms if you'd like to. And come back up. And release the ball. And let's inhale. Drawing in positive, healthy energy into our systems. Let's breathe in. And draw energy in for the good health and strength of our bones the spacious health of our joints. And let's inhale and draw in a wonderful Wednesday for all of you. All right.
Thank you, Tracy.
You're